We're not going to turn the overhead lights on because it's just like too bright and I get sweaty. Yeah. Okay.
Heart, lead,
Great. Huh? Oh, thank you. I'm not even set up. The website's not even connected yet. I know I need to get my act together. Hi, everybody. Hi. Happy Sunday. So I think it's a little easier once everybody gets settled, if everybody's okay with that. Because there's, it can get kind of noisy in the kitchen. We're passing out cacao. So little raw cacao truffles. It's cacao powder with coconut milk, coconut oil, maple syrup, honey, only because I didn't have enough for maple syrup. Sea salt and cayenne and cinnamon. And I did not put as much cayenne in this time as I did last time. So you will enjoy it and not have your heads, your ears smoking.
Thank you, Lovey.
You're welcome. But it is damp and it actually helps you stoke your metabolic fire to have cayenne in your chocolate. Yeah. So you're welcome. Yeah, we'll maybe just take a couple more minutes if you're okay with that. And then handouts are up at the front, and then get on the newsletter if you want to be on the newsletter. And let us know if you don't have chocolate. Chocolate. All right. Kiki, would you mind getting her? Yes. Thank you. Okay, I have to go.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Okay.
Okay.
I'm so glad it's just me.
Okay. I think I'm going to start sitting. Okay. So, welcome to Tend to Your Temple. This is our last one for a while. It's been really fun. We've done this 9 times now. And the intention is just to share information about how we stay healthful in our bodies, but not just like healthy, but like actually like all the way, taking up all the space in our bodies energetically, physically, biochemically. So we've done pelvic health, we've done digestion and detox and heart health and mitochondrial health. And this is tonight's going to be like an amalgamation, I think, of everything. I don't have slides because I have discovered that it's not as fun when I do the slides. And I feel very rigid and I don't get to be as off the cuff. And so the handouts, this is how I teach anyway, and I have for years, so I really enjoy it. My name is Allison Immel. I'm a PA and a nutritional therapy practitioner, trained in functional medicine, and I do all kinds of stuff. I do urogynecology, I do metabolic medicine, preventive medicine, and I think I know most of you, and you probably already know that about me. But we are recording this, and I know that I have said that I'm going to post all the videos before, and I haven't done a good job of it. I'm going to do all of it. I have space set aside in November to do all this stuff. So I want to start out too. Well, first of all, Soul Cafe, thanks for staying on Sunday evening and having us. And Devin and Prism are just amazing, and they've done an incredible job with this space. And thank you to them. Thanks to Jody and team at Traditions and Amanda. Thanks for always helping me get set up. Thanks to my girlfriends and my daughter for supporting me and passing out chocolate. So we use chocolate because it opens our hearts. Of course, it's high in minerals and it's good for you, but it's also a big heart opener, and it helps you to be courageous and stand in your authenticity. And so it's my favorite thing to share with people. And the truffles are easier to transport than liquid cacao. So, okay, this particular topic is so important to me. Stoking a metabolic fire in your belly. So not only do we want our metabolism to be flowing, and we'll talk about what metabolism means, but we want our souls on fire. Part of what we're struggling with in the whole world is that everyone's kind of suppressed, and they're not actually living a fully embodied life or living a life fully alive. I mean, we doubt ourselves, and we second guess, and we want to make sure we fit in, and we fear rejection, all these things that get in our way of really flowing and living on fire. And what I really want you to leave with tonight is that is actually causing us health problems. Autoimmunity, elevated LDL, hormones dropping. All of that really is, there are of course biochemical roots and all this stuff. We're going to talk about gut health and soil health and all that. But it really is this dampening down of our spirits and our souls that throws us into this hypervigilant state. And that's what really shuts down our metabolism. Everybody feel that?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
A woman, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Kiki. So, I'd like to teach about the foundations of activated wellness, metabolic health, whatever. When we're going to talk about metabolism, really is like the fundamental of what we need to be focusing on. But self-love and self-prioritization, clean nutrition and hydration, nervous system regulation and stress management, digestion and detox, superb sleep, movement and muscle building, community connection, and play. So it's a lot. Like, it's a mouthful, and people are like, oh, just the 5 pillars, nutrition, sleep. You know, it's like, we need all of this stuff. I think that's my daughter's new Lassie that she's having blended, so sorry about that. Yeah. I have a lot of word processing, so if I hear anything going on in the background, I'm like, I can't speak. But we really have to tend to all of these things. I mean, I get a lot of pushback in my work that, oh, it's just too hard to eat well, or it's just too hard to exercise. Like, we literally have to do all the things. We have to do it all. I mean, our bodies start to change, and we were meant, like, our blueprint was meant for something else besides what we're being offered in the world. The chronic stress, the chemicals in the environment, the glyphosate in all of our food, the crazy politics. I mean, the world that's being offered to us does not match the blueprint we were given. Like, we haven't evolutionarily caught up to the chaos and the dumpster fire that is, I mean, a lot of what's on offer in the planet. We also have a lot of beauty, and like, we are inherently beautiful, and beauty is on offer for us, and so really leaning towards that. And so it takes effort to actually, like, empty out so that that's accessible to you. When beauty and love come in, they program you the right way, right? They calm your nervous system, they throw you into rest, digest. And it's the other stuff. It's the news, the fear, that's what throws us into sympathetic dominance. So when we're living in sympathetic dominance, fight, flight, fawn, freeze, that's when all those metabolic processes slow down. That's when our bodies will not do what we need them to do. So that's really what we're going to be talking about tonight. Everybody knows Zach Bush? A couple people, yeah. If you don't know Zach Bush, like, he's probably gonna be president of the United States one day. So, I mean, we can only hope. But he is an expert on metabolism, and his quote here is, "Metabolism is the fundamental process that makes life possible." So when we think about metabolism, a lot of people think about weight loss or energy, which is, that's part of it. But metabolism is everything that happens from start to finish of using energy and using fuel for energy and then getting it out of the system. But it's connected not just with your food, but with your microbiome, with the soil, with energy, with light. And when any part of that process is slowed, whether it's gut health or fatigue or overwhelm and chronic stress, your metabolism is going to suffer. So we'll go through the handout, but please ask questions. I did not bring the whiteboard tonight. If you've been before, I usually put a whiteboard out and have you mark underneath like what you want to talk about. This is so meaty tonight that I just want you to ask questions and just tend to what you came here for tonight. So metabolism is a set of chemical processes in living organisms that convert food energy to sustain life. We have energy conversion, building and breaking down, so things building up to make muscle, and then breaking down nutrients for availability. Body functions, breathing, circulating food, contracting muscles, maintaining body temperature. This is like the brass tacks of it, that's the boring stuff. Waste elimination, and then metabolic rate. So the way I describe metabolism is an input-output game. So this is, the reason for disease, the underlying cause of disease is oxidative stress. Everybody know what oxidative stress is? Like, do you really know what it is? Okay, great, that would make me redundant. I don't like being redundant. So metabolic, oxidative stress is really a buildup of free radicals in the system. So like I said, it's an input-output game. Whether you like it or not, you're a machine. Like, you are a machine. You're also a being of light and love, but you are a machine on planet Earth. So stuff has to go in, and then stuff has to make its way out. So we ingest food, or we take things in through our skin. Everything has to go through the digestive tract and then your liver. And so when we say it's an input-output game, this means that if you're overloading on the input side and your output side is weak, you will have some form of disease. And I don't mean being super, super sick. So you could just even be fatigued, have a little bit of brain fog. Its symptoms arise from an imbalance in the input-output game. If you give your system more than it can actually handle, period, it results in inflammation and oxidative stress. So oxidative stress is happening in your mitochondria. Those are those teeny little energy powerhouses in every single cell. This is how we pass on, this is passed on through your mother, your mitochondrial DNA. And this is the source of like things going awry. So when your system gets messages like mixed messages, this is where it's happening. And it's getting mixed messages because the system's getting completely overloaded. So let's just use food for an example. So you eat a heavy meal, or say you even eat a perfectly balanced meal. You've got your protein, you've got your starch, you've got some vegetables, and you've got a little bit of oil. Maybe you're eating more, like maybe you ate just a little bit more than you had the digestive capacity to break down. So then that gets into your gut, and it's overloaded the amount of hydrochloric acid that you have in the stomach to break it down. So then now you've got underdigested proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. So those are moving into the small intestine. And if there's any bacteria in there that aren't supposed to be there, that underdigested food becomes food for bad bacteria. So now you have gas and bloating after a meal. Long term, that keeps happening, then you have an overgrowth of that bad bacteria, and that's called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO. But gas and bloating is an indication of poor digestion from the top down. And so we'll talk about ways to tend to that. But so that's just like the mechanical part of metabolism. And then when we're talking about in the liver, if you are overloaded with chemicals, so say you have, we'll use alcohol, that's a really simple example. Say your threshold is like half a glass of wine, but you drink 1 glass of wine. And your liver's like, I only can actually do 1/4 of a glass of wine. So if the next morning, that's when a hangover happens, or all of a sudden you get constipated, or you get a skin breakout. It's just more than you have the capacity in phase 1 and phase 2 liver detoxification to break down. So in the liver, you have phase 1 detoxification. That's where a lot of medications will get broken down, and then it gets converted over to phase 2 to get turned into a water-soluble metabolite, safe, to get out of the system. This convergence from transfer from phase 1 to phase 2 is where things get stuck. That's where disease occurs. So like estrogen, any sort of chemical, foods, medications, they get stuck in that in-between state, and that's when your free radicals go up, and that is actually the cause of cancer. Okay, so, and I get pushback on this a lot, like especially in the HRT world. People are not as afraid of estrogen now. Everybody see the news? Okay, so they're removing the black box warning off vaginal estrogen. It's not off all of it. Everyone's like, oh, so that means we're still like having to battle against a lot of the fear mongering around HRT, which we'll talk about like why we need it. But estrogens have to get through this same pathway. So if things get stuck in there, that's when we get mixed messages. So estrogen never causes cancer. It's the inflammation or the oxidative stress that comes from an overloaded liver or an overloaded metabolic process that causes the cancer. Does anybody have questions about that? I want everyone to feel like, okay, all I have to do is like speed up my systems, and that's all you have to do. It's easy. Not really. Especially when it's like rainy and cold and there's good food coming with the holidays. It's just really hard to keep that metabolic fire going. Any questions at all so far? Okay, let's see. So these handouts are totally for you. Like I put arrows and things. So like underdigested food from weak, insufficient digestion feeds bad bacteria in the gut. That creates inflammation, damage to the gut wall, then to the blood vessels. Then you get poor glucose control, elevated insulin, and chronic vascular inflammation. So let's talk about that. Have you heard the term metabolic endotoxemia?
No.
Oh, this is so great.
Metabolic what?
Metabolic what? Metabolic endotoxemia. Okay. I might be skipping ahead a little bit. That's okay. Metabolic endotoxemia is basically like the root of all evil. So metabolic endotoxemia is inflammation in the gut. Again, when we think metabolism, we think losing weight, we think energy levels. But metabolism, actually, the gut plays such a huge role. So we just talked about overburdening the system, underdigested food. That goes into the gut and feeds those bad bacteria. Those bacteria are so naughty. They release this chemical called LPS. And that gets into your bloodstream, and it basically causes this triggering of inflammation. So gut health, gas, bloating, inflammation in the gut, gets into the bloodstream, and that actually precipitates all inflammation. It also disrupts, if you have an overgrowth of bad bacteria in the gut and you don't have enough good bacteria, that's what's regulating your glucose metabolism. So people with reactive hypoglycemia, insulin resistance, prediabetes and diabetes, that's coming from your gut. Is that news to anybody? Not really. Okay, that's great. But you have to understand that you're feeding the bad bacteria by underdigesting your food. And that's what we want to, that's how we want to stoke that metabolic fire. So if you're carrying extra weight around the middle, if you have the extra visceral fat, if your LDL levels are going up, you got to look at gut health really specifically. And to stoke that fire, there are things we can do. You can use like digestive bitters. You can use an HCl supplement. This is all on your handout, just so you know. If you want to take notes, don't put it in different places. It has to go in different places sometimes to land in the brain. But you can use digestive bitters. That's one of my favorites. I use Urban Moonshine digestive bitters, or people like Elise make her own. But there are lots of recipes that you can make on your own. You can go down to Radiance and get herbs and just, it's a very, very simple recipe. But digestive bitters you take under the tongue or on the tongue 5 to 10 minutes before a meal, and that will stoke the fire. We want to stoke the fire. So that instigates digestion, starts it in the brain and in the mouth. Bitter foods will tell your brain, start secreting hydrochloric acid. Once you have enough hydrochloric acid in the stomach, then it triggers the release of healthy bile, and it triggers release of your pancreatic enzymes, and so you're actually able to break down your food. So much of this piece right here gets missed. Like if your doctor were talking to you about your hydrochloric acid and your biliary function, so many other diseases downstream would not be occurring. You mix that, so when I talk about disease in any clinic setting with anybody, talking about gut regulation or gut health and nervous system regulation. Those are the two main things. If we can dial those things in, then autoimmune diseases, cancers, inflammation, joint pain, all of those things actually can resolve. That's the root of it. So digestive bitters, hydrochloric acid, you could do beetroot, taurine, vitamin C. Those things help to thin the bile. Again, this is all on your sheet. I'm just skipping ahead a little bit. But again, tonight's all about stoking that metabolic fire. Like, how do you build this? And it's not just the digestion piece, right? This is also your solar plexus. So your solar plexus is your fire for life. And so if you have digestive issues, or if you're sluggish, or you've got brain fog, or you've got some chronic fatigue, you have to be really real with yourself. You have to ask yourself those questions. Am I doing the things in life that light me completely up? Am I living a life fully alive? What do my relationships look like? Am I blocking the flow of love? Have I suppressed grief? Have I suppressed rage? Am I processing my emotions? That's the meat right there. Yeah, I don't know what you're saying, but
Not me, none of those things.
none of those things. No, we're free. But we will be free. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I have been suffering from, not suffering, I'm not suffering through anything. I've been tending to autoimmune stuff since I was 20. And my patients are always like, the Whole30 is hard. And I know a lot of you have heard this already, I'm sorry. But they're like, Whole30 is hard. I'm like, living with autoimmune disease is hard. Waking it's an anti-inflammatory diet. Waking up every single morning with joint pain, that is hard. Not being able to go to do anything on the weekends because you have to stay in bed, that's hard. Anti-inflammatory diet, like removing gluten and dairy for a little while, and then adding it back in occasionally once your agni's all ugly, that's ugly, it's all built up. That's a piece of cake. We just get in our own way. We got excuses for everything. Oh my God, and I have heard them. I get so many reps on excuses. So many. I'm like writing a book called But I Love Cheese, because every time I ask someone to take out dairy, they look at me like I've taken part of their life away. They look at me like, but I love cheese. I'm like, I know, but you have to break up with cheese, just short term, and don't eat the shitty cheese. And that's the problem. Like, people are eating crappy cheese. If you ate good cheese, and but you have to give your body a break first. You've got to take these things off. It's the input-output game. You got to lighten the input load. I know.
It's good. It's actually relieving. It's release.
Yeah, good. Everyone. Oh, we forgot to breathe. I keep forgetting to breathe at the beginning. We'll do it in a second. So we want to lighten that load, whatever it is. And we all have justifications, okay? Like, I don't have any shame. I don't have any judgment. I have my own personal shame. But I'm not shaming you. I'm not judging you. It doesn't affect my quality of life whether or not you adhere to the anti-inflammatory diet. However, You will be freer when you give yourself a break. You just give your body a break. You get to see what it's like to have less joint pain, less brain fog. You are improving your metabolic health by lightening that input. It's just an equation. Lessen the input, let your body breathe. Let all those processes actually spin without the gunk. It's like, well, my daughter's right there, but like cleaning out your hairbrush. Like all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, it's so shiny. Like lighten the load. We're clogging it up with our doubt and our indecision and our waffling and our wibbly wobbling. You just have to decide, right? Just decide and then show up with the willingness to back up your love for yourself. Self-prioritization and self-love is the very first foundation. And so if we are committed to living a life of wellness, and I think a lot of us desire a life of wellness, but I mean, you're all here, you're willing, but so many of us, to completely embody like our vitality and to completely live in our joy and a pain-free body, it takes a ton of commitment, and it takes getting really real with yourself. And some people are like, well, you don't need to. The optimization field, like this is like functional medicine, the wellness space. Like I said, oh, you don't need to be taking all the peptides. You don't need to be doing all the supplements. We do not, but we do need to be emptying our buckets. We do need to be feeling our feelings. We do need to stop making excuses. We do need to take responsibility for our own lives. You don't have to take supplements. You don't have to go do the red light therapy. But to be a healthful person, your nervous system has to be calm. It has to be regulated. And so when you get into that parasympathetic state, that's when that engine starts to rev. But your body can't be in that parasympathetic state if you're inflamed all the time. Because if you just imagine, like, okay, you're not digesting this stuff here, and then you have leg plugins in your house, and you hate your husband, and you don't really hate your husband, but you're perimenopausal and you totally hate your husband. Because the sound of chewing, like, I'm not married, but the sound of chewing makes you cringe, and you haven't slept in the same room with your partner, and you kill your kids. It's so funny. Why did I say that? I never want to kill him. Say, you know what I mean? I hear a lot of things. Like people are like, okay, it's really, really rough. And so if your body is dealing with all of that all the time, and you're eating ice cream every night, then your system is not free. Period. Your metabolic processes are not flowing. And so then how are you going to manage your cholesterol? How are you going to not get prediabetes? How are you not going to get osteopenia? How are you not going to get dementia? How are you not going to get heart disease? How are you not going to get cancer? It's really rough. I mean, and women are getting heart attack or having heart attacks way more often than they're getting breast cancer. It's a big, big deal. When you have poor metabolic health, your blood pressure's up, your cholesterol's up, your blood sugar's all wonky, you got brain fog, headaches, weight around the middle, high visceral fat, and a slow metabolic rate. Those are all risk factors for heart attacks. Not to mention the other stuff, but we are at risk for having more heart attacks than we realize. And that's part of why I went to work at Multicare, was to go and build this metabolic wellness program so that we could really focus on reversing the risk factors for heart disease for women specifically. But I'm going to tell you, the healthcare field's they're not doing it. This is not me getting up to be political by any means, but you have to do it. They're not going to do it. There's no system in place. So you're 35, let's look at your LDLP level and your estradiol level, and maybe we get a CT coronary calcium score to see if there's any early plaque, or maybe we get a DEXA scan in your 40s instead of waiting until you're 65 and you also already have osteoporosis. That's not how it's set up. So it's totally up to us. So that's what I'm saying, you can eat dairy if you want to, but you shouldn't. You know what I mean? I mean, you can, actually. A2 dairy is delicious, and plain whole fat, full fat yogurt, that's also really good. But it is this responsibility, because no one's coming for us. The healthcare system is not coming. And so I was talking to a friend today, and we're talking about the kind of medicine that I want to practice. I'm opening my own practice in January. So I'm super excited, and I was scared, but I'm not anymore. And so we're talking about how to meet the needs of people, and to create access, but also a living wage, for all the debt that I have from going to VA school, trying to change healthcare from the inside out. But it's you have big medicine, it's like Costco. Costco's got some good stuff. You can get some organic vegetables at Costco, and you can get, you get good deals on coconut oil at Costco. But you know, if you want like a really special gift for someone in your life, you're gonna probably go to like traditions or like Compass Rose. And so they were saying that the kind of medicine that we need, we still need that personalized medicine. We still need the Compass Roses, and we still need the traditions to actually meet our needs completely. Like Costco is like the staples, and then if you really want to prevent disease and you really want to take good care of your system, it's like going to someone who's going to hear your heart. And also, and it doesn't need to be me, it doesn't need to be a naturopath, it doesn't need to be a healthcare practitioner necessarily, but working with someone who can be a partner for you, whether it's an accountability buddy or a really good counselor or something. But we need the kind of like that, not boutique medicine, but we need that small business owner, like mom and pop kind of vibe to actually get there, because it requires connecting on a heart level. And I don't need to sound cynical about the healthcare system. I mean, I'm working at it and trying, you know, I still have like hope. But anybody experience that, like what I'm describing in the healthcare system? Sure. Yeah. Anybody want to share anything about it? I mean, you don't have to. I do want tonight, like, I want you to share as much as possible. Because we're not going to do this again. And like, what do you need? Like, what do you want in the community? What can I sit on, and how can I serve you? That's important for me to walk away with tonight. Nothing? Nobody?
I'll do something.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thanks. What'd you say?
Oh, I was just saying, you know, my husband has a concierge doctor. Every time I go in, I'm learning, and there's no time limit. You know, you're not a number, you're not a, you know, feel like you're in a factory. And I go into my doctor, and it's just, I've got my 10 minutes. Here's a sheet for your sciatica. Do these things. I mean, it's like, it's so different, and I really appreciate and love his doctor. And I just get to ask him all kinds of questions, and it's very informational. It's great.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that. And I think we kind of, the big systems came in and they bought up a lot of the small practices, and then people were like, oh no, I thought this was going to be great, and then things are slipping by. And the problem is we're paying the price. Yes. Like the cost is us. It's like, yes, we're getting our sciatica treated. Yes, we're getting our antidepressant. Yes, we're getting our ADD med. Yes, we're getting told to go get our flu shot. But no one's doing a preventive cardiometabolic lab.
Right.
You know, no one's saying, how's your sex drive? No one's saying like, hey, I'm updated on the latest research on perimenopause. Like, you want to talk about hormones at 42? Which we should be. So that's why we're here. That's why I'm here, is to be like, okay, these are the things you need to go ask about, and these are the things you have to do, and I can't see you all and you know, one-on-one. So please, you know, make sure that you are watching your input-output game. Yeah.
I have to say that all the things that you've mentioned are things I've had to bring up to my provider. They're not things that they've initiated a conversation with. And they've been very receptive, I have to say. And I have a nurse practitioner right now who's amazing. Like, I was in there the other day seeing her, and just the connection and the care and the way she listens, like literally had tears in my eyes because it's so important. But yeah, I've had to initiate all these conversations on my own.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I can feel your tenderness right there too. I mean, and that's the thing. It's the system. It's not the people, the individual people. Like, people don't go to medicine and be like, I really just want to work in a mill. Like, we did not do that. We all went in like, oh, we're gonna change it. It's gonna be so great. And you know, but the medicine is at least 10 years behind. And so when you connect with a person, like, that's a blessing, right? And that's what you're looking for as a partner. That's what I'm saying, just a partner. And that's when we have to become educated, and we have to be empowered, and be like, you know what, I want to thank you for checking my cholesterol, but can you check a particle number? You know, I heard ApoB is a really good marker for measuring cardiovascular inflammation. Can you add that to my panel? It's okay. And some people might get offended, you know, or they might be like, I don't know what to do with that information, but you do. You know that an elevated ApoB and an elevated LDLP, that is a risk factor for cardiometabolic health. Yep, it means your metabolism you're not metabolizing your fatty acids, and so you know what to do about it. If you don't, you just email me or go back to the cardiovascular lecture, which I will post at some point, all of them.
One thing is I've had several providers that have brought up different things, all these things you've mentioned, and they've been very receptive to everything. And so I'm wondering if maybe it's just they know they don't have the time to bring it up and start all these conversations, because I haven't had pushback or them questioning why I'm asking about it or anything. It's just
You're
I
lucky.
get time.
Yeah, it's you're lucky. I would say it's not even, it's maybe 50-50, but I mean and maybe it's the people who are sitting with me, but I do hear a lot. I hear both. I hear people who are meeting with providers who are willing and they're curious and they're open, and I hear a lot of people like saying like, why did she tell you to order that? You know, and
it could also be insurance. Insurance limits a lot of things that
Yeah.
doctors even address
Yeah.
with you.
yeah, it's so many things. It's just, again, the system is not, it was created years ago, and what's happened now with the way things are is everyone's getting sicker faster, and it's much more complex. Like, nobody knew what MCAS and POTS were like 15 years ago, and now everybody's got it. And we've all kind of had it, you know what I mean? But now we're having lots of symptoms of it. If you don't know what mast cell activation and hypermobility, all these things, they really do originate in metabolic endotoxemia conveniently. You just have to regulate your nervous system and heal your gut. That's all you have to do. No big deal. Heal your trauma and, you know, break ancestral patterning. No big deal. Just get after it. Yeah, and again, I'm in the system, and I know, and I'm grateful for it, because this is the place where they can impact the most change. But we got to fill in the gaps. It's our job, you know. I'm not negative or cynical about it, I don't think. I'm disenchanted, maybe, yes, but you know, not cynical yet. So signs of poor metabolic health: if you have low energy, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, any food allergies, IBS, chronic GI complaints, that's slow systems. That's slow gears turning. That's gunk in the wheels, okay? Gunk in the gears. Brain fog, memory issues, neurodegenerative or neuroinflammatory disorders. If you start watching your memory go, it's like, okay, that's low T3, low thyroid hormone, that's metabolic. If your T3 is low, T3 regulates your metabolism. So if you've been in chronic adrenal dysfunction for years, and you've just been going, your adrenals drop, and then your thyroid's gonna drop. Your gut's inflamed, your thyroid's gonna drop. You have trauma that's unresolved, your nervous system's fried, your thyroid's gonna drop. And so then you have the more brain fog. You have excess glucose in the system and excess insulin. Whoa, lights changed. If you have excess glucose in the system, that means you're eating too much sugar and sweets and snacks and stuff, then your insulin's gonna go up. Insulin is neuroinflammatory. Every time your insulin spikes just a little bit, it's neuroinflammatory. And so much, if your metabolism is compromised, like if your blood sugar is not stable throughout the day, and you have these little spikes of cortisol and insulin, you will be in an inflamed state. So that's okay. Like you're sharper one time a day than you are in the other. So look at that. Like if you are pretty clear in the morning and you're productive, and in the afternoon you can't even remember your middle name, you know, look at your glucose metabolism. Look at when you're eating. Are you eating enough protein, or did you eat something high glycemic? And this is more than just like staying away from sweets. This is paying attention to when you eat, how much you eat, the state of your body when you eat. Are you chewing? Those things are crazy important. And the reason I'm harping on this stuff right now is because, again, like, I don't want you on meds. Be on meds if you want to be on meds. Yeah, if you need to be on meds, I'm not saying don't take your meds. But I don't want you to all of a sudden show up and your cholesterol's high and you're like, I don't really know if I should be on a statin or not. You know, and then someone's like, I think you should be on a statin, and then you don't feel like you have the information to say, you know what, give me a few months to work on this before I get on a statin. Because these drugs that we have are all part of that input game. It's more stuff that has to go into the liver and has to get out. So again, I just want you to know, I want you to know the why of everything. Any questions about insulin and cortisol? We're gonna talk about GLP-1s here in a second. So how did we get this way? I love this piece. So how do we get this way? This chronic nervous system dysregulation. So we talk about it a lot, just that we all live in fight flight. And so this is really our lack of community that has created this. So the lack of intergenerational living, the lack of true like grandmother energy in our community. And it's not that we don't have elders, it's just that we're not honoring eldership. And so I was talking to someone today about grandmothers in training. It's like that's what we all are, you know. We're grandmothers in training. We are preparing ourselves to impart the wisdom of what it means to be human in the world and protect the earth and protect each other and love each other. And you know, there's this reconciliation that is happening with, okay, we're having to say goodbye to our youth, And a lot of people criticize HRT. It's like people just want to feel young, or you just want to stay young forever. It's like, that's not what it is. We're trying to maintain our vitality so that we can actually stand in empowerment for our communities and serve them. Because we have this generation of young women who are wanting to have babies, and they're coming in behind us, and they are seeing, it's a mess. They're so discouraged, and they're looking up. Like, tell us, teach us what's coming, and we're not ready. And I'm not saying that individually we're not ready, because we're all doing our part, and we're all doing a good job. But as a community, as a collective, we're in such fight-flight. We're so stuck there, and we're so stuck in our emotions and fear what's going to happen to the country, and fear what's going to happen to the forest, which is reasonable because it's atrocious what's happening. But we have a responsibility, right? Like, we want to take, the whole thing is tend your temple. We want to take care of our bodies so that we can serve, so that we can access God, spirit, source, whatever. That's the whole purpose, is so that we can actually be part of this wheel of life. But what's gotten us into this mess, and we're kind of lost, we're like this lost generation in a sense, is this chronic nervous system dysfunction. This lack of support for each other, living in our little silos in these individual houses, all alone, taking care of our kids or our partners or our parents by ourselves, without support, without our sisters. And we get together and that kind of thing, but we're not living in the way that our bodies were designed. Again, the world wasn't made for us. Our nervous systems were designed to be pack animals. We're supposed to be in a posse to support each other. That's what coherence is, entrainment, co-regulation. All these things, like all this tech stuff, like HRV and Oura rings and heart math, all these things that are measuring your heart rate variability. We would have better heart rate variability if we were living in coherence. If we were snuggled up with each other and we were at a crowded table every single night, we were in the kitchen doing the dishes together. That's what creates safety and security in our systems. So we have to give ourselves so much grace for all this stuff, and like, we're hard on ourselves, like all the supplements, and what's wrong with me? And then she told me I have to eat an anti-inflammatory diet. If I don't take my adrenal support, then I'm gonna blah, blah, blah. It's like, all that stuff it's so important, because we have to acknowledge where we are. But I think the honoring of where we are is actually more important than the supplements. The grieving process, like, we actually have to have that go through that collective grief of what we don't have with each other in order to get our nervous systems more regulated. That's it. I mean, that's actually all I want to say tonight. You're like, yeah, right, Allison. But truly, I mean, I think that one thing I want to share with you, I mean, I have my own journey, right? We all have our own health journey. Yeah, okay, I feel like I've dialed in my nutrition. I feel like I know what I need to eat. I don't have gas and bloating and stuff, and I just, my autoimmune's locked down pretty good, My hormones are where I need them to be, fine. So I'm working on my, feeling free. And I really don't want to be taking all the stuff that I'm taking to keep my autoimmunity at bay. So what do I want to do? I want to free my nervous system. I really do want to live in a safe body. And I know that we know about grief, but really the grief is the access point. Moving the grief, really creating space for the grief, and not like grief of just losing a family member or a loved one, but this collective grief that we all experience. We don't even realize it. I mean, not really. And I know, again, I'm not going to sit up here and think I know better than anybody in this room, and I'm not necessarily saying anything that we don't all think. But I do want to, the message I want you to hear is that in order to regulate the nervous system, we have to empty out all the emotions. And the suppressed rage, the suppressed anger, the suppressed grief, the suppressed resentment. If it stays in your body, and everybody's read Your Body Keeps a Score by now, right? Just kidding. If it stays in your body, you stay in a hypervigilant state, and then you will not escape disease. It will chase you forever. And so it's like, hold the phone, do the work, take the supplements, do your functional stool test, because it's super interesting and it actually makes you feel a lot better. It's like a cycle, right? If you heal your gut, you heal your brain, you heal your brain, you heal your gut, and back around again. Do the things. That's why we're here. But you have to do the grief work. There's this beautiful book. Who knows Francis Weller's work? Anybody? Yeah. Oh my God. The Wild Edge of Sorrow. I put it in your paper because I love it so much. Have you read it? You've heard it? Okay. So it's the 5 gates of grief, and 5 gateways of grief, and it's a system, so it's digestible, and it's a framework, so it helps you actually access this grief, and I included it in your handout because it is so important for that nervous system piece. So I would highly recommend reading it. It's a pretty quick read, unless you're me and I read a page and then I have to put the book on my chest and I cry and then I pick it back up. It's pretty fabulous, and you feel free on the other side of grief. And that's what we're looking for, and freedom in your nervous system. We want to stay in rest, digest, arouse, reproduce state so that your metabolic processes are actually cranking. That is how you stoke a digestive fire. You keep lightening your load. So you're avoiding dairy, crappy dairy. You're avoiding crappy gluten with glyphosate all over it. You're also avoiding excess trauma or exposing yourself to toxic relationships, things like that. But you're also unpacking and unloading all the things that you've been carrying around for forever. That is how you escape that autoimmune diagnosis or the chronic pain or, you know, and I know you know that I work with a lot of women in pelvic health, and so women store a ton, all humans, store a ton of trauma in their hips and in their pelvises. Okay, side note, I did see this cute video on Instagram. These guys who do men's work down in Australia, they were like, did you know that the hips store trauma, all your stored trauma can be released if you move your hips? And it's these three guys like twerking and dancing, and they're so funny. I highly recommend looking at it. It's really silly and they look really uncomfortable. Like making the video, they look really, really silly. But we all have trauma in our hips and our pelvises. And so that's why somatic work is so important, and dancing is so important, moving your body, going to yoga, but really getting in those hips and releasing it is so important to regulate the nervous system. And eating vegetables. So, that was just the first bullet point. Okay, I said chronic nervous system dysregulation, deterioration of the soil and the food system. So, metabolic health, like I said, it's directly to, let's take some breaths together. What's your name again? Oh, you're Francis, then what's your name again? Andrea, yeah. I saw you need to take a breath with me. Okay, so can we do 3 together, collective breaths? And if you want to close your eyes, just close them. If you don't want to, don't, but I'm going to close mine. So, we're going to take 3, okay? In through the mouth, or in through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. And that's also how we create that coherence too, just slowing down the breath. And thank you for being here and loving me and seeing me and accepting me as I am and giving me a place to, like, you people, like, come here and you give me a microphone. Because I'm just gonna come and just as I am, and I get all feisty, and I had a meeting with leadership at Multicare, and oh my God, and of course we're not moving this metabolic wellness program forward, and I sat around a board table and I was like not happy with what they were saying, and I cannot hide it. And I had a patient the other day say, you have a terrible poker face. I was like, I know, I think I'm getting too old for this shit. Like, I have no filter anymore. And so thank you. And it's, again, I'm not disparaging anybody. I'm just like, we gotta, like, not eat dairy. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking about the dairy thing. There's good dairy out there. So, deterioration of the soil and the food system. So when we're talking about this metabolic endotoxemia piece and making sure that you're optimizing your cholesterol and making sure that your metabolism is working to prevent disease, we have to look directly at the lining of the gut. And so we know that the soil has lost a ton of nutrients, and it's also been filled with glyphosate. So glyphosate, if you know what that is, it's the chemical in Roundup products. And so it was originally manufactured to clean pipes, and then it was used as an antibiotic, but now it's used on crops to decrease pesticide loads. But the problem is it dries on the plants, and so then when the wheat and the corn and the soy and everything are processed, and the oats are all processed, it stays on there. So like when they go through the mill, the glyphosate just sticks right to it. And so glyphosate actually pokes holes. That's a simple way of describing it, but it pokes holes in your intestinal lining. And so your mucosal lining, your epithelial lining of your gut has to have these tight junctions. I know I've talked about this before. It has to have these tight junctions. It has to stay together in order to keep the bad stuff out and allow the good stuff in. You have these cells that are lined like this, all along the gut wall. And what glyphosate does is it damages that seal. So now you have intestinal permeability. This is leaky gut syndrome. That's how stuff gets through that's not supposed to get in. And now you have autoimmunity because you have these large proteins that didn't get digested because your HCl is low because you got hypothyroidism, H. pylori, and you don't chew your food. So all that stuff gets all the way to your digestive, into your gut, gets through the bloodstream, and now you have these proteins that are floating around in your bloodstream. They kind of look like thyroid, like turkey and thyroid proteins, they look pretty similarly. So then the turkey protein or whatever gets tagged, and now your body starts to go after your thyroid. So the seal on your gut is like your main protection against the world. It's your main protection against toxins, chemicals, undigested food. Everybody know that already? Okay, some people did. Okay, are you living it? Like, and you know it. Okay, this is the other thing, that I'm a broken record, and so I will say the same things over and over and over again for the rest of my life. I have no problem with it, because repetition helps to land things in our souls, not just in our brains, but actually embody it. And we know that. Like, what you think about, you bring about. Like, if we look in the mirror every single day and we're like, whoa, those wrinkles. I mean, you're just gonna, it's more. But if you look at your eyes, you're like, whoa, you have beautiful eyes. Like, that's all you're gonna see, right? So I'm gonna keep saying the same thing over and over to you. You have beautiful, healthy gut. Beautiful, healthy gut. Beautiful, healthy gut. Get the glyphosate out. Quit drinking oat milk. Quit drinking oat milk. Please quit drinking oat milk. We vote with our dollars, so if we just all stop drinking oat milk. Oat milk. You can drink goat milk. Goat milk's great. Goat milk, good. Oat milk, onerous. Okay. So the oat milk it's covered in phytates if they don't treat it properly, and it's covered in glyphosate. It just damages the gut. People were like, oat milk doesn't bother my gut. I'm like, well, it doesn't have to show up in your gut and cause symptoms in your gut to cause problems. If you have a rash, it's the oat milk. Just kidding. So the way that we can address the deterioration of the soil and the food system, number one, just vote with your dollars. Absolutely. Like, support regenerative farms as much as you possibly can. These are people putting regenerative. Yeah. So there's a regenerative farm movement as well as a regenerative health movement. So trying to bring doctors, healthcare providers into farms and teaching them about soil health so that they can go and impart that onto their patients. And so encouraging patients, and if anybody is great at that here, like however we can do that, like please tell me so we can get this movement going in this town. But connecting people ultimately to the soil and to their food sources. I know we've been talking about that like farm to table for years, but really we want to rebuild the soil. And ungulates, like cows, they do that. Having lots of animals on land does that. The way that they stir up the soil naturally with no tilling, and then the way that they feed the soil. So we know that areas where there's grass-fed animals, they actually have less runoff and improve the soil, the quality of the soil. So chronic nervous system dysregulation, deterioration of the soil and the food system, lack of community and intergenerational family living, loss of root chakra stability and sense of safety and security. So if you don't feel rooted and grounded in that chakra area, the sacral chakra and the root chakra, we talked a lot about that in the pelvic health lecture, then you aren't going to be able to regulate your nervous system. And so if your basic needs aren't met, if you don't have shelter, if you don't have food, if you don't have finances, if you're in an unstable relationship or violent relationship, all of those things are going to throw you into autoimmunity, poor metabolic health. And we absolutely see that. That's where the socioeconomic factors play a huge role in the incidence of autoimmunity. So there are things you can do. I mean, there are yoga practices that you can do to help bring you into your body and ground your root chakra. I love the book Whole Detox by Deanna Minnick. Whole Detox. She can connect the chakras to all the foods and the hormones that are associated with an imbalance in that particular chakra, and then the gland and how you nourish the gland specifically. It's beautiful. So she'll do like a 7-day detox with the chakra system. It's really, have you ever done it before, Kristen? Yeah, it's beautiful. And it's my most purchased book. I've bought that book like 5 times because I just keep giving it away. I just did the other day. I was like, there it goes again. And she's wonderful. So she integrates food and spirit so beautifully. She's a clinical nutritionist with a PhD. She's like highly rewarded or awarded in the functional medicine world. And then she's also like a medicine woman, just teaches about spirituality.
What was her name?
Deanna Minnick, Minich. She's in Gig Harbor, yeah. She Port Orchard, but she's online. She's got certification programs. She does groups, and all of her lectures are fabulous. So if you're looking for someone like very clinical with lots of evidence, but who's just ethereal and spiritual and colorful, her thing is all about color. She's got the rainbow diet. Do you know her?
Cool.
No. Yeah, she's great. She's great. She's my hero.
You're my hero.
Oh. You're so sweet, Alicia. I love you too. Okay, intergenerational trauma and inherited genetic damage. This is real. So we pass this stuff on in our DNA. So it's not just epigenetic, meaning like you're given genetics and then the environment changes it. You actually pass metabolic dysfunction down through your DNA. And so that's with trauma, that's with exposure to toxins. This stuff actually gets passed down. And so it just reiterates like just how much effort we have to put in to cleaning up our systems. And it does not have to be clean all the time. I got talked into a gluten-free apple cider donut this morning, and it was delicious. So you don't have to be perfect and clean all the time. But I also, juiced celery, took a sauna, and did a coffee enema yesterday. So I was ready for my donut. We'll talk about that another time, okay, everybody? But this is what I mean. It's like it's living a life in balance. It's just managing that input-output game. But we get sad, right? Like, what are the reasons, if you want to share, what are the reasons that your output might be higher, even though you know that you don't have to share? I know this is a very personal question. But we get depressed, right? We get depressed and we eat our feelings and we know better, but then we shut down because we're like, it's too much. It's too much to do all the things. Like, I could sit up here and...
Yeah, and I feel, you come to the end of the day and you spent the whole day giving to others, and just like, I'll just have this little bite of ice cream that then becomes the pint of straws with no ice cream, right?
Right. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Taking care.
That's it. We are giving out all the time, and it's coming from what place? And if you're giving, it's coming from a natural essence of who you are.
Yeah.
When you're over giving, that's a program. That's hypervigilance. That's not self. That's ego. That's not soul. That's ego. So it's the overgiving that throws you into the hypervigilance. It's another input-output game. If you give beyond your capacity to give, you will switch right over into hypervigilance. Now your nervous system is on high. Now your cortisol's up. Now ice cream is justifiable. It's really big and it's subtle. The more you empty out the trauma, the pain, the rage, the clearer you become with your own boundaries. But if it's messy and you're buried in the layers of resentment and people-pleasing and unprocessed hurt and upset, you cannot access your authenticity, the truth of who you are, the soul of you that says, everything okay? Okay. The soul of you, ADD, oh my God, it's crazy. It's just really up in perimenopause. But the soul of who you are, who's actually governing how you take care of yourself. And you know this, when you're less stressed and you have capacity, you're making your roasted sweet potatoes and your beautiful piece of salmon and your sauteed kale. Your meals look pretty and feel good when you've got space and time. But if you don't have space and time, then you're operating in more of an automatic mode. Right? So just tending to the part of you that gives beyond what you actually have capacity to give. Thank you for sharing that. That goes right into suppression of emotions and unexpressed grief. I know we've covered that, and I really believe in this. You got to get them out. We work with friends in the room, work with an organization called Phoenix. Thank you. Phoenix Humanities School. It used to be called something else. Phoenix Humanities School, and this has taken my whole autoimmunity experience into a completely different world. It's not that I'm completely in remission because I still have flares. But I feel so sovereign, finally, because I have emptied all of this stuff out. I take way fewer supplements than I ever have in my whole life. I take my hormones, that's for sure. That's next, by the way. But I am more emptied than ever, and I feel lighter, and that's probably why I get pissed off in boardrooms, because I'm like, I'm not gonna filter this. I'm not keeping this down, I feel like my passion's like, right, it's accessible, But this program, and this is not a plug for the program, but I want to share, it's amazing. If you are interested in being guided and led to do this work, it's hard to do it like one-on-one with a counselor. This is very specifically for unpacking your grief, unpacking your guilt, unpacking your repressed anger and your rage, unpacking, like really being heard and you're upset. And that's this is a good segue to this. This is a big piece of like why we do what we do and why we suppress this, because when you've learned that when you bring it up, you will not be heard. When you actually bring it to someone, they don't have the capacity to hold it for you. And so then they're going to take on your stuff, or they're going to throw it right back at you. And then it doesn't get processed completely.
Or it adds another layer.
What?
Or it adds another layer or a little tick in that spot of hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, and that creates, yes. You bring it up to someone, and then they're maybe dismissive or they're defensive, and now you have a new wound. And then that's where it just gets packed on, especially in relationships, right? It comes from every area of life, but especially in relationships, it's just getting packed on. And that throws us into that hypervigilance. There's no way out of that. We're like, oh my God. It is like quicksand, you know? So the process of unpacking and unloading is essential for overall metabolic health. Did you guys think we were going to talk about GLP-1s tonight?
Talk about what? Sorry.
GLP-1s tonight? Do you think we were talking about Zepbound tonight? Yeah. Is this landing with everyone, or is it just like...
Totally landed.
Okay. Some people resistant to it. Oh, you have a question?
I was just going to say that since I drink the best water possible I can get, my filter healthier. It doesn't help drink good, healthy water.
Absolutely, yeah.
The city water has chlorine in it. It's not good.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for
Please
sure.
filter it.
Yeah, that's like clean nutrition and hydration. No joke about clean water, for sure. Filter, or go to the well.
Right.
They haven't tested it in a long time. I don't know. Or I don't know when they've tested. They probably test it all the time.
I tested the well.
Good stuff?
The Olympia
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
It's literally, it's about a 7 pH. It's not high pH,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Good.
It's clean water.
Good, yeah. That's what we drink. Yeah.
And with the chlorine, is it safe to like swim in the pool at the Y that's chlorinated?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I
So
get exercise from it, you know?
yeah, it's so hard. It's so hard because like, what are we gonna do? Like, insist that they use iodine or bromine for that. It's like bromine, chlorine, and iodine are all on the same. They're all halogens, and so the exposure to chlorine, the risk of it is it can displace your iodine. Iodine is essential for making healthy bile and for healthy thyroid function. And so, if you are going to be in a pool, it's an input-output game. If your chlorine's going in, you might need to get your iodine tested. Make sure that your iodine is where it needs to be.
Or take iodine.
Or take iodine. Be careful, because if you take too much iodine, it can throw you into a thyroid storm. So just be mindful. If you're going to do iodine therapy at all, work with a practitioner, for sure. It can totally trigger autoimmune thyroiditis. So, but thank you for bringing that up. It's all an input-output game. Nothing is malicious. Like, stay in neutrality. Nothing's good or bad. It's what you have capacity to process on an individual basis. That's it. That's why the diet that I recommend for you is not going to be the same diet I may recommend for you. You're different. One of you has a gallbladder, one of you doesn't have a gallbladder. One of you has hiatal hernia, the other doesn't. What can you process? And it's so different for everyone. What makes you feel light? What makes you feel free in your body? And everyone in this room knows the difference. You've all had a week of your life where you did some sort of cleanse. You're like, that was amazing. Felt clear, looked good, felt good. Everybody around me was way less irritating. Like, that is real. Has everyone experienced that? Will you raise your hand if you've had a week of that in your life, or you know that? And for the ones who haven't had that week of your life, well, then we need to talk. We need to talk. You deserve that week. You deserve that month, that year, that lifetime. And that's really what I want for everyone. I mean, I'm not happy all the time. I'm happy a lot of the time. And I have a lot of energy most of the time. I do have pain. I deal with pain. I don't stretch before I run. And I've got this psoriatic arthritis and this rhinitis that really, like, the older I get, man, I'm just getting, it's more work for sure. But I'm happy for the most part. And I want that for people. And I got so much shit in my history. I got so much trauma. I was doing this exercise at this, I didn't realize it was like a grief retreat, but it was kind of like a grief retreat. The person who was leading my group was like a grief expert. It's like, I'm in the right place. And they did this exercise where, this is not for you to feel sorry for me. This is for you to I'm just sharing this little bit of my story. If that's okay.
Yes.
And we did this exercise where you have to stand in the circle. Everyone walks in a circle. And then the person facilitating will call something, and they'll say, okay, stay in the circle if you have lost someone to suicide. And then, or stay in the circle if you've been married. Stay in the circle if you have children. Stay in the circle if you've been divorced. And everyone they called like 20 things out. Everyone but 2. I was in the circle for, and it was kind of embarrassing because I just kept walking around the circle. People would walk out, and I stayed in the circle. And I was like, it hit me. I was like, yeah, I've been through some stuff. I've been through a lot of stuff. I mean, no wonder I couldn't poop for 11 days when I was 19 years old. That's someone said, don't put that on your PA school application. And I was like, are you sure? And I think it's a great opener to the application. And my PA mentor was like, please do not do that. Yes. Yeah. But I mean, talk about constipation and stagnation, just so much built up and so much stuck. And that's really what autoimmunity is. That's what sluggish metabolism is. When your system is slow, when you have pain, or when you have like a disproportionate response to pain, if you can't move through the pain, that's stuff stuck. That's an output game that's sluggish. So, okay, regarding hormone. This is another thing. This is the last thing, and then we'll talk about a little more brass tacks. So, fear of authenticity and vulnerability, deep fears of rejection, not belonging, and abandonment. So especially in our society, because we don't live in this community place where someone's reassuring you like, oh my God, I got you. I see you every single day. Someone who sees you every single day, or a posse of people who sees you every single day, who's like, accepts you and loves you. We're by ourselves most of the time, and then we go out. And we go out braced. We go out masked. We go out armed to be whoever people kind of expect us to be. There are very few places in our world, and you know who you get to be your authentic self with. You know who you get to fall apart to. It's not a community at large. Am I wrong about this?
No,
okay.
You're not correct.
Okay. So this is the piece of like truly fearing vulnerability because we're afraid to be left behind in our community. We're afraid of abandonment. All that stuff triggers that fight flight. And so again, I'm just trying to highlight all the ways that we're like a mess, And it's just, and not really because we're beautiful, we're perfect, perfectly imperfect, whatever, imperfectly perfect? Crystalline, that's what we are. But this is it. It's all this stuff that mires us down and bogs us down, and it just slows your metabolism down. We are made to be free in our bodies. It's not like we're all eating trash. No one in this room is eating garbage. I know that. I know for the most part, because you're here and because I just know, most people are eating okay. You should be able to not eat perfect diet and feel free in your body. It's not just the food. It is your soul, it's your spirit, it's this sluggish metabolism because we're in nervous system dysregulation. That all lands, right? Okay, cool. And if it didn't, you wouldn't say it to me right now because you're all so nice, and you're so nice to me. Okay, regarding hormones. So this is a great conversation. People, the HRT conversation is just so hot. And I'm really happy, but I realize that not everybody views hormone replacement therapy the way that I do. I view bioidentical, body identical hormone replacement therapy as something that we are entitled to and is necessary for us to actually survive what's coming, to stand in our grandmother roles, stand in our mother roles, and our auntie roles. Hormone replacement therapy, or hormone replacement, is essential because we have been in this chronic adrenal dysfunction. So remember the adrenal relay where the ovaries hand off the baton to the adrenal glands and the adrenals pick up the slack. They say, okay, thanks for your service, ovaries. We're done with eggs. We got it from here. So they're going to produce the estrogen, the progesterone, and the testosterone.
Can you start that just real quick again?
Yes. Yep. So in reproductive years and premenopausal years, the ovaries are producing the greater producers of your estrogen, progesterone, and your testosterone. When the ovaries start to stop producing all of those, they hand off, we call it the adrenal relay, they hand the baton to your adrenal glands. Those are those little like pyramid-shaped glands that sit on top of your kidneys. So the adrenal glands secrete epinephrine, norepinephrine, but they also secrete your cortisol, your aldosterone, and then your sex hormones, DHEA, testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. The problem is when we go to hand them off, our cortisol starts to rise around age 35 because the progesterone starts to drop. Well, that goes hand in hand. They are competing. We'll talk about that. So the cortisol starts to rise, and your adrenals are now managing all of this. The adrenals have to produce a lot of cortisol because we're in this chronic nervous system dysregulation. So your adrenal glands are focused on fight, flight, not rest, digest, arouse, and reproduce. And so that's why we see sex drive tank. We see fatigue, your DHEA starts, so testosterone drops, sex drive tanks, muscle mass starts to go down. DHEA, like your recovery from illness, like we see a lot of low DHEA with long COVID. So you get a cold and you can't recover near as quickly as you used to. DHEA is low. Periods start to get super wonky in the perimenopausal period because your adrenals have no reserve to produce the excess progesterone. So I feel like with hormone replacement therapy, because our metabolic health is so compromised, we actually I want people to feel entitled to hormones, because it's not like this has ever happened before. We have never seen such chronic illness in the human species ever. Ever. And we've never seen the hormones so low, ever. Not that we were measuring hormone levels 100 years ago, but we have never seen such illness, especially in women. It's happening more in women, for sure. The osteoporosis, the dementia, heart disease, it's really, it's kind of dire. I don't mean to be super a bummer about it, but it's really, really real.
That's the piece around collective grief, right?
That's right.
Just in this moment, honor that.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
She said that that's that collective grief piece. I mean, really and it's not because our hormones were kept from us. So we can get pissed off about that. We totally can, because the Women's Health Initiative gave out wrong data, and that was just, a lot of healthcare providers didn't feel safe prescribing hormones. That's one small piece of it. The big collective piece is the hustle, the pressure to go out and be a breadwinner and come home and be the nurturer, tender to the children, the overgiving, the taking care of everybody else. That is where the grief, that's where that lies, is our over functioning for everyone for your entire life. And this doesn't mean bow out and go live in a little cabin out in the woods. Now, that sounds so lovely. As long as we all had little cabins together. Yeah. And then a garden and a place where we could ferment everything. Who's good at bread? Who's good at making bread? Great. Good. We'll grow einkorn. It'll be amazing. But the collective grief is for what we thought we had to do, and then once we realized we didn't have to do it. We didn't have to do this. We did not have to hustle. We didn't have to push so hard. We didn't have to say yes all the time. We say yes when we mean no because we're afraid of rejection. That puts you in a hypervigilance. That slows down your metabolism. You're not making your hydrochloric acid anymore. You guys are probably tired of talking. Okay, great. The microbiome manages your metabolism, so I want you to know that we'd already covered metabolic endotoxemia, but just please know that the more bad bugs than good bugs, that leads to these issues with glucose metabolism and gene modification and gene modulation. So if you have an overgrowth of bad bugs in the gut, you are going to be at increased risk for all kinds of cancers and metabolic issues, period. So your gas and bloating is common, it's not normal. I mean, that really irritates people when I say that. So the solutions really, like I said before, are, I'm on stoking the fire on the second to last page. The solutions really, for building your fire, empty out your emotions, use your botanicals to regulate your nervous system. So most people get gas and bloating because they are eating when they're on the run. So this happens all the time. Women, especially women, will tell me I don't have any other problems with gas and bloating except after lunch on work days. And it's because it's this eating at your desk and not really chewing your food, or taking a bite and then working on the computer. So that's super common, so that your brain is in that active mode. It's very masculine. It's very sympathetic dominant if you're stressed. And so then you're not going to digest your food, and so then you're going to get that gas and bloating in the afternoon. So make sure that, yeah.
So what about having issues with certain foods, like legumes? So I use Beano. Do you have an opinion?
Yeah, so I was just so funny you said that, because I was just going to say people who eat beans. So legumes have a lot of lectins in them, so they are inflammatory in the gut. They're also a complex carbohydrate. And with legumes, a lot of it comes down to sluggish digestion. So if you have any of these other signs of sluggish metabolism, you're gonna have a tougher time breaking down that complex carbohydrate. But also it's how they're prepared. So legumes have to be soaked for 24 hours with sea salt, and they have to be cooked properly. So a lot of canned beans are, they're pressure cooked, so they're not getting that time to kind of unfold. It's like the beginning of the germination process, and so that soaking activates enzymes that help to break it down and neutralizes a lot of the phytic acid. Cooking can neutralize some of the lectins, but still they're harder to digest for some people. Some people love beans. Some people they thrive on them. They have a lot more of that fire. So if a food bothers you, it could be, if you like food allergies, it could be anything. You could have an inflammatory response in the gut. You maybe people will say, well, I'm lactose intolerant. Well, it might be that you have biliary congestion, that your gallbladder or your bile is too thick and you can't actually emulsify the fat that's in certain dairy, not necessarily like a food allergy. Does that make sense? So that's why you want to go upstream. Make sure that hydrochloric acid is where it needs to be. First thing, eat when you're hungry and calm. Chew your food. Listen to your body. And then make sure that you're not overfilling your stomach so that it can actually process all that food. If you get GERD, indigestion, or anything like that, all those things. Eat when you're hungry and calm. Make sure that you chew your food. And then just eat slowly. So you can use these botanicals like GABA, or use botanicals. We've talked a lot in the past sessions about things like rhodiola rosea, ashwagandha, holy basil to calm the nervous system. Then you can use GABA and L-theanine also to help calm the nervous system. So I have a ton of patients who I just recommend Cortisol Manager, which is we call it the I don't give a shit pill, and it helps to get you out of fight, flight, into rest and digest. And they said that their digestive symptoms resolve completely just by adding in Cortisol Manager. Yeah.
What's the brand?
Thank you. Integrative Therapeutics Cortisol Manager. It has L-theanine, passion flower, magnolia, ashwagandha, and phosphatidylserine. So it helps to modulate the pathway that actually tells your body to make cortisol. It says, no, go make some progesterone. Go make some DHEA. Instead of going to that cortisol all the time. It really does calm the system. It's pretty amazing. And there are lots of different blends out there, but none of them work the same way that Cortisol Manager does. Yeah.
Is there a specific time of day that you recommend?
So Janice's question was, is there a specific time of day? So some people cannot take it at all during the day because their nervous systems are so wired that if they take it, it makes them crash. So it's recommended that a lot of people use it at night, like 1 to 2 tabs before bed. So I recommend, this is like first line therapy for hot flashes and for nighttime waking between 1 and 4 a.m. So if you're having a tough time staying asleep and you're not on hormones, you're not ready to get on hormones, you can start with Cortisol Manager. Other people, I say take it at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and then right before bed. But some people have that paradoxical response, they just don't respond well to it. And so I would say 1 out of every 100, 150 actually gets stimulated by Cortisol Manager. And I think it's the ashwagandha. I think they're having a paradoxical response to it. And then stay with your breath, connecting to breath to build that heart coherence. Thank you for breathing with me. I needed that. I needed to actually slow down a little bit. Your breath, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, that will lower your cortisol. And doing it 3 times with your eyes closed, that can actually help pull you out of that sympathetic dominance. So breath work is we know this, it's free. We don't do it, it's crazy. It's crazy. And people's shoulders are up like this all the time, Drop your shoulders, do your breath. We teach it to the kids now, which is great. Rev your digestive enzyme. Yeah.
I recently heard it rephrased that if you hum, so it's rather than taking those breaths but if you're humming with your mouth, which requires you to have your mouth closed, then you're breathing through your mouth and it has the same effect.
Yeah.
As the taking the 3 breaths.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So anything that's going to tone your vagus nerve. So humming will tone your vagus nerve. Carotid massage will tone your vagus nerve. Breath will tone your vagus nerve, for sure. Thank you for sharing. Rev your digestive engine. So digestive bitters, digestive enzymes with hydrochloric acid. If you have digestive problems, if you have GERD, this is usually an indication that your hydrochloric acid is too low. So everybody thinks that GERD is too much acid and they get put on omeprazole or Nexium, and that actually blocks the acid. We actually need more acid, not necessarily less. And so you need enough hydrochloric acid so that the stomach, as it's mashing and mixing, seals off from your esophagus. And so a lot of times I'll help people bridge off of those with this product called Gastrozyme, which is 3rd on the list here. They get on the Gastrozyme while they're on that PPI, and we help to rebuild the gastric mucosa. We help to retone the lower esophageal sphincter so that you can actually transition and start taking a hydrochloric acid supplement. if you start taking a hydrochloric acid supplement with a digestive enzyme and you have a lot of reflux, it may actually worsen the burning. So just be really mindful. And the reason I bring this up is because there's a lot of over-the-counter digestive enzyme products that have HCl in them. You can try it for sure. If it creates a little warmth, it's not going to hurt you. It might burn a little bit, and you're like, oh, that product's not for me. I mean, it's best to talk to somebody professionally about it, but you can definitely try something over the counter. If you are getting gas and bloating, you have any constipation, the bitters and the digestive enzymes together can actually just rev up that engine. It can stoke that fire for you. Berberine, we love berberine. So solar plexus is yellow, pancreas is yellow, that's where your insulin comes from. Yellow, 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 that's your metabolic fire color. So think of the sun just kind of burning really, really brightly, and the berberine is the same color. And it's from Oregon grape, the plant Oregon grape, and it's this gorgeous, gorgeous yellow color that helps to just improve muscle mass, burn fat. It increases your mitochondrial function, so it's going to increase your energy. It also regulates your cortisol production, so it helps to lower cortisol levels. And in whole root form, it can actually kill all the bad bugs in your gut. So it's a great product. If you have questions about that, let me know. And then beetroot, taurine, and vitamin C. There's this product I love called beta TCP. And so if you have thick bile, or if you always burp after you have fish oil, that's a good sign, a good indicator. If you take fish oil and you're like, I don't take my fish oil because every time I take my fish oil, I burp, it means you have a little bit of biliary congestion, so you can give yourself some biliary support. And so things that thin the bile are beetroot, just like fresh grated beets on a salad, lemon juice, vitamin C, and then taurine. It's pretty great. These are little simple things. I'm telling you, this is gold. These little things, I know I'm like saying a lot of stuff, but these things are gold. Get your bile thin, get your HCl optimized, make sure you chew your food. Like, your whole health will improve, because you're going to improve your ability to metabolize cholesterol. You're going to improve your ability to clear estrogen, excess estrogen out of your system, because your estrobolome, which we talked about last time, that's the balance of good and bad bacteria that actually helps clear your estrogen out of the body. That will improve. So things like adenomyosis, PCOS, all those things, you'll be able to clear all the hormones out just by chewing your food appropriately and taking some beta TCP. And then lighten the load. Tune into your capacity. Only eat when you're hungry and calm. Anti-inflammatory diet. That doesn't mean just the whole 30. That means, choosing a diet that is not going to inflame you. Chew your food. I put that in caps with a smiley face. I used to work in this place where we had a chew song, because we wanted to be so ridiculous so that you would remember. So we'd say 1, 2, now we chew. 3, 4, chew some more. 5, 6, mash and mix. 7, 8, chewing's great. 9, 10, let's do it again. And so that you would chew 20 to 40 times per bite. And like,
per bite, you would, wow.
I mean, you look like a cow chewing cud. You're like,
yeah.
But we really are supposed to drink our food, we're supposed to be drinking our food. It's supposed to be mashed up. Because think about it, like your teeth, that's where all the mechanical breakdown happens. You leave it up to the chemicals in your stomach to break all like these solid foods, these big pieces of food down. It's capacity, it's input-output. You do not have the digestive capacity to break that stuff down super efficiently. The particles are too big when they get to your stomach. You don't have that. So yeah, we have to chew our food.
What's 5, 6?
Mash and mix. I love you, Francis. That's awesome, yeah.
Teaching this to my grandkids.
Okay, yeah, and to your partners, and to your children, and to your whole community.
Start over, please.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. 1, 2, now we chew. 3, 4, chew some more. 5, 6, mash and mix. 7, 8, chewing's great. 9, 10, let's do it again.
So cute. Can you make a Facebook post for that later?
5, 6 is smash and mix.
IG Live.
Okay, maybe one day. I'm working on it. I'll tell you here in a minute. Okay.
Chewing is great.
Periodic fasting is awesome. So giving your system a break. It could just be one day. One day, just give your system a break. You can just drink lemon water and tea for one day. If you want to do fasting mimicking, we've talked about the Prolon diet in the past. Can I tell it? If you have questions, can I just? Yeah, Brenda's amazing at this. She knows everything about Prolon. Not everything? Is that okay? Yeah, everything. Yeah. So so if you have questions, she's just a great resource. It's an amazing thing to do. It's 5 days of all your food's prepared for you in this box. You don't have to think about anything. It's a little spendy, but you get a complete reset. And so we see cholesterol levels go way down with 3 rounds of that. You do 3 months, 5 days per month for 3 months to just completely reset your system. It increases stem cell production by 800%. So you're getting like cell turnover. Prolon, Prolon.
Can I do a little?
Yeah,
Wait,
They also just came out relatively recently with a new protocol that reverses type 2 diabetes.
Awesome.
And this is through University of California, San Diego. So it's all medically done. It's not one of the.
Yeah, not a fat diet.
It's actually University of Southern California, San Diego, and it's all medically based. It is one of the most research-based diets. And an independent person who wanted to discredit it ended up winning the Nobel Prize for Medicine for proving why it works.
Wow. Yeah, Walter Longo is a longevity specialist, and he all of the research that went into creating the diet was based on like all the blue zones and longevity and looking at telomeres, and so the Longevity Institute is who put out the diet.
Is this still
What's the
on
name of it?
Fullscript?
The diet?
Prolon, Prolon, and yes, it's on Fullscript. Yep. Fullscript is an online dispensary. If you work with like a naturopath or a functional medicine person, they have Fullscript stores. I have a Fullscript store. Yeah, I mean, it's accessible. You don't need to go on a Fullscript store. It's also available just online. Okay, quick note about GLP-1s. So I put information in here for you, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this, but we don't need to villainize anything. I just don't want to villainize anything. GLP-1s are serving their purpose right now. So it is not a shortcut. It is not, it is a shortcut in a sense, but it's not one to be shamed for. We got a big chronic illness epidemic. We got lots of people totally stuck. So if it's something that you are interested in or are curious about, like, there is no shame. We are using this stuff. So just like hormones, just like hormones and B12, these are things that your body normally makes that we're not making enough of because of the way that the world is. Does that feel validating? Okay, like, it's okay to use the things that modern medicine is saying, like, oh, they're making a ton of money off of it, but it's something that your body was making before to help you manage insulin, not just to lose weight, but to manage insulin because we live in this chronic nervous system dysregulation that throws off the way that your body responds to insulin. So it's not just overconsumption of food, it's also excess cortisol production that causes insulin dysregulation, so then that's going to cause your blood sugar to bounce around, which causes flares of autoimmunity. So GLP-1s are now being used for autoimmunity, complex rheumatologic disease too. So there is a place for all this stuff in medicine. People ask me all about it, and it's one of the things that people write on the board, the whiteboard all the time, and I never get to. So it works great in metabolism. So if you are feeling stuck, you can look into microdosing GLP-1 or GIP. The combo products help prevent a lot of the side effects that you can get with them, and then they also help stabilize the blood glucose levels. So they're not just suppressing appetite and improving glucose sensitivity, but they're also regulating the insulin response. So that's a whole other conversation. It's super complex, but I just want you to know, like, use the tools that are out there because we didn't make the mess, but we get to use the system to our benefit.
Question?
Yeah.
So first of all, like, is there a, you say micro, is there a certain brand you would recommend? And then the other question is, I'm worried about, I don't want to be on it forever. I would like to correct my weight, and then I would like to get off of it without it going back.
Yeah. So to avoid dependence on GLP-1s, you got to do all this stuff. That's it. There's really no escaping a clean diet and a healthy nervous system. You have to move in that direction. You got to do your stuff. You got to do your heart work. You got to eat clean. Like, so the dependence on it will be because you're not making the lifestyle, I'm not saying you, but you won't be making it's when people don't make the lifestyle modifications and keep the muscle on. So remember, the more muscle mass we have, the more insulin sensitive we are, or the better we regulate glucose. The muscles will utilize your glucose separate from an insulin response, so you actually don't need to trigger insulin to get the glucose into the cell. Put the muscle on. Put it on as much as you possibly can. Weighted vests, squats, go to the gym, body pump, whatever. You got to put the muscle mass on. Don't worry about getting skinny. Don't worry about losing weight. Don't worry about these things. Go put on your muscle. Go lighten your load. Everything will happen just like you want it. I promise you. If you need a little help to get started, then talk to your provider about doing a GLP-1. I'm not the person to talk to about, I'm learning a lot about them because I really am curious about the whole autoimmune thing. But plenty of people are trained in this now. So many people. So but you can't escape putting on muscle, eating clean. Okay, so we're gonna be out of time. I put biomarkers to track metabolic health for you. I put some cheeky stuff on here, like what do we hear? Everything looks fine, you're good to go, even when you definitely don't feel fine. Those say this result is a little off, we're gonna put you on this medication. So these are the conversations we might be having. I just want you to know that there's more, there's deeper digging that you can do. All these labs we wanna take a look at. A lot of these are standard labs, triglycerides, HDL, fasting glucose. You can do a blood pressure, waist circumference. All those are gonna be to evaluate your metabolic health, your metabolic flexibility. I really want people measuring an insulin. Holy moly, did I leave insulin off?
What's hormone?
Oh, fasting insulin.
What is that?
That's a calculation for insulin resistance.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's if your A1C is normal and your blood work looks pretty good and your glucose is normal, but you're like, I just want to check, but you're carrying weight around the middle, or you have visceral fat, or you're like, something's off. You can check a HOMA IR score, and if it shows that you're insulin resistant, you're like, I knew it, and then you just keep doing the work.
What score?
It's on here, HOMA IR, less than 2.0, but lower is better. HSCRP is a marker for inflammation, and then making sure that your liver enzymes are definitely under 20. So anything around 20 is not going to trigger abnormal on your labs. You want to make sure that it's lower than 20. That it's in the low teens. That's liver enzyme. Because once the liver is overloaded, it takes a long time for the liver to actually show up in your labs that there's a problem. So well before your liver enzymes are going to be elevated, there could be problems. Just sluggishness.
That is a normal routine lab?
Yep. Yeah, your ALT. Yeah, if your primary is ordering like a CBC and a CMP, that's going to be on there. Yep. But I want you to look at it like with a magnifying glass, be like, it looks normal, but Allison says it has to be below. I annoy so many people, and I don't care anymore. So my nutrition PSA: you cannot pill, prevent, or procedure your way out of a crappy diet. Period. So today, just with the world the way that it is, you have to eat clean, whole, nutrient-dense foods. Avoid all processed foods. Avoid, or at least minimize sugar. Avoid any gluten, dairy, corn, soy, sugar that's not organic, because it's got the glyphosate in there. Avoid alcohol, and then eat green foods. So especially with metabolism and GLP, like glucagon, like peptide, you make your own GLP when you eat lots of green foods. They have this chemical called thylakoids that actually increase your GLP-1. That's why vegetables are good for you. That's one of the reasons. So lots and lots of green stuff is going to improve your glucose sensitivity, your insulin sensitivity. So eat a big salad, lots of kale. Don't worry about the thallium. You got bigger problems to worry about than the thallium in your kale, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not picking on you, okay? Because I've mentioned dairy 20 times tonight. But like, you're eating ice cream and you're worried about the thallium in your kale. You know what I mean? Like, see where we justify everything? Like, we're not gonna sweat small stuff. Nobody's gonna sweat small stuff. It's all small stuff, right? Sweat the big stuff, like your heart and your upset and your relationships with your mother and your father. Sweat that stuff. Don't be sweating the thallium. Okay. I think, okay. The last bit, the soul on fire, which we've woven in through the rest of the thing. I love what Vonda Rice says, don't be a trash compactor with your diet. Like, please, your machine is beautiful. You have Porsche. Everybody's got a Porsche. Or you can call it the fanciest car. Like, what are you, Bugattis, Maseratis? Sure. You're all fabulous, fast vehicles that require premium fuel. Okay, people? Like, don't be putting any crappy unleaded AM, PM gas in your, Okay, soul on fire. I want you to listen to your gut, honor the niggles, do the thing, befriend uncertainty. Okay, it's okay. It's all gonna be okay. You have no idea. I didn't know, I still don't know, but like, you just don't know how good it can be on the other side if you just let go of control. If you feel a niggle, you need to listen to it. Like, really, really listen to it. You keep ignoring it, your body's gonna scream it at you. Tend to your sweet temple so that you're not distracted by all the compensatory mechanisms. This is the whole point of this whole series, is tend to your temple so it doesn't distract you from living on fire. Like I say all the time, vitality equals power minus obstruction. So So vitality equals power, that's you, minus the obstruction, everything that gets in the way. So what's in the way? If it's in the way, move it. If it feels too big to move, get help. The Phoenix Humanity School is great for getting those boulders out of the way, for sure. Okay, and let's see what else. And then I'll let you go home. Oh, there's so much more. Sit in stillness to hear what's there. So if you always have social media on, I have patients who sleep with the TV on. That means that they're not even getting quiet right before they close their eyes at night, you know. So sit in stillness and just see what's there. Get your earbuds out, turn things off, just see what's there. Not with a guided meditation or anything. Like just go stare. Just allow what comes. You don't have to go searching for anything in stillness. It just comes. You notice that?
It's not always good.
It's okay. It's whatever comes, you just gotta love it. Whatever comes, love it. And then identify where it's coming from. Is it coming from fear? Is that real? Like what's more important, right? Fear of rejection, or you living in your authenticity? And we're all learning this together. I'm just the noisiest one with the microphone. That's it. Woo! Ow! And then grieve, I gave you that book recommendation. Grandmothers in Training. I just said this today. Like, can we do this? Can we do Grandmothers in Training?
Yes,
We'll get T-shirts and bumper stickers and stuff. We'll go to Amy's place. Yeah, I mean, I think that this is real. Like, this is really, really, really real. And we're joking about it. Stephen Jenkinson talks about this, like this loss of eldership. And the grief, like we want it to be, this is really important. We want it to be something different. We want it to be like it was. And I'm so not guilty of that, but I've done that. Like my whole adult life, I've grieved the way that I didn't get it. I've been wanting my childhood to have been different, or wanting my community to be different. Like, why can't we all just live in community? Why is this food the way? Part of our initiation and our rite of passage is actually feeling the pain of it not being the way that we want it to be. Instead of like being, especially our generation, it will happen, it's coming. Like our kids, our grandkids, and their kids are gonna experience a different world that we got to live because of what we're fighting for right now. And we just won't see it. And that's okay. It's totally okay. They're worth it. But like, gosh darn it, like we're gonna enjoy it while we're here, and we're gonna feel good in our bodies, and we're gonna get on the floor with our grandkids, and we're gonna go hike in the woods, and we're gonna be as free of pain as we possibly can, and we're gonna enjoy raw cacao when we want to, and we're gonna have a little ice cream here and there. It's fine. But it's just that grief of wanting it to be so different, like feel it completely. Yeah. Okay, that's it. That's it. You can go. Class dismissed. So yeah, I'm super excited, and I have no idea how it's gonna go, but I am opening my practice in January, and so if you want to be on the wait list or whatever, I will send you more details as they get fleshed out. So I'm going to part-time. It'll be a part-time practice to start, and then it will be, as it gets busier, it'll just be a transition out of the system and just doing this. But I'm going to be doing group medicine offerings, so we'll have like group visits. There'll be different. There's going to be different offerings. Like, I'm really being transparent about this. The time that I will give is, it just takes a lot of time to really get to the nuts and bolts of things. Some people need more than others. So there's just a hormone prescription management option. So that's something, and I welcome your feedback. I will not be taking insurance. I'm happy to have that conversation with you anytime about why I'm not going to be taking insurance. But do you need just something like light management? Do you need the deep dive? Do you want to just do the group medicine where you're getting the information and you got it on your own? It's not primary care, but it's preventive care. And I really just want us to be in community together as much as we possibly can. This is the last one I'm going to do like this. I want it to morph so that we're all supporting each other a little bit more. So that's why I think that just hosting the group medicine where, it's going to be one Zoom a month and then one in person a month where we can actually be together. I will not have a microphone. You all get to talk to each other. But that's, I think, the way that we're going to be able to really become these grandmothers, not in training, but it's kind of funny to be 45 and talking about being a grandmother, but my mom was totally a grandmother at 47 years old, so it's coming, right?
I'm waiting.
Any questions before we, you're waiting. Any questions before we, yeah?
Just wondering if this recording is going to be available.
Okay, so again, thank you all for loving me and accepting me as I am. So I am going to put all the recordings that I have on the website and on a YouTube channel so that everything will be available. So watch your email. If you sign up for the newsletter, watch your email and I'll let you know when that's up. It's a learning curve for me. Like, it takes me a lot of time to do these things. I'm not fast at it. So that's why it doesn't get done. So all of a sudden it's like, oh, months passed and I didn't add you to my email and newsletter. Sorry about that. Yeah, Alicia.
Does it feel true that I might have seen an offering from you recently? It felt like there was like maybe even a digital package or something.
Oh, the program. Oh my God. So, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So, thank you, Alicia. Appreciate you. So I did a 2-hour recording of my whole foundations program. I have this Foundations of Metabolic Wellness. It's a 12-week program. But all the information I just recorded in a 2-hour video, and that's actually for sale on my website. So I was charging too much for it because somebody told me to charge a lot, and I was like, it's $44. So just it's 2 hours of me talking like this. So that's a lot of information. It's really fast. But that's there, and then I am going to be doing the group metabolic wellness program, but on my own, not in multi-care, in January. And so I'll put information about that. So it's a small group. It's like 8 to 12 people. Oh, I put that on here for you too. It's like 8 to 12 people, so however it fills. But what we do is we will run your labs. We meet one-on-one to look at your labs, and then you're in a cohort with other people. So we'll meet a couple times in Zoom, and then a few times in person. And the goal is really just to you get 12 weeks of like, how are you gonna go? Like, what do you need to know for the rest of your life, really? Yeah.
Will it be open to both genders?
I am going to be working with men. This first group will be with just women, but I am going to be working with men too. It's just going to be a building process because it's scary to go on your own. And I don't have a lot of capital. So, eventually men, yeah.
So she's 10 to your temple on YouTube as far as following her channel.
God, it's not ready yet.
But just go follow her and
Stuff will be there.
Stuff will be, eventually, stuff will be there. It's, 10 to your temple, but I'm probably going to change the handle to Heart Led Med. So Heart Led Med is what the name of the practice. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited. Thank you all so much for this incredible series. It's incredible for me to have the opportunity. I'm not sure how incredible the series was, but
absolutely incredible.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. And go well, go gently, go lovingly. Be so gracious with yourself, and thank you for loving me back. So have a good night, you guys.